And welcome back to the Basil Breen Boombox. I am here with Kaycii, aka the Crumlin Crusader. Hopefully my names are getting better as time goes on. This is a man that I met, of course, once again on the open mic scene. Actually at my very first open mic. After I got up and sang some sort of love songs or whatever, he gets up, starts spitting about the harsh realities of fucking life, and in just with this ferocity of lyrical content that just seemed you could fit all my written content that I've ever done in music into this fucking rap man, right? And it was very impressive. I was very blown away.
Oh, thanks, man.
And obviously got to know him a bit since then and realised that he also has a massive heart and he's actually super humble. And I'm really looking forward to this one because I've been listening to a lot of his music. Like, I know I don't look like a hip-hop aficionado, but I used to love hip-hop back in the day. And if you look into some of my songs, I'm really into rhythm and flow and stuff like of that nature. But we have to start somewhere with this conversation. And we always like to go back to the beginning of where Kaycii
The humble beginning.
Yeah, the humble beginning where he... Shout out to one of his songs, part one, where he fell from the heavens into hell and then to rise back again and bring us Kaycii. So yeah, how did you get started in? I like actually first before we get in there, you describe yourself as a lyricist, which I thought was really interesting because for you to say that means like it. For me, I'm like, oh, he takes words and rhyme like very seriously to say, you know what I mean? So that's what I realized. I was like, that's such a good way to say it. Not just rap, not just hip hop, lyricist, because that's what at the fundamental, it's all about the word and the written word. So yeah, how did this all come to be?
We're dating back a long time.
Yeah, let's go back.
My eldest brother was a rapper years ago. We're talking like fucking. Like 16 to nearly 20 years ago, my brother got into hip hop with his mates, and he used to record like the odd time. Used to go into town and busk with his mates, and you know they were really deep into it, like, you know what I mean. And obviously, like I was immensely inspired by that. Like my eldest brother is like my role model in life. Do you know what I mean? He's a very strong dude. You know what I mean? And he was always helping me and me other siblings with everything and kind of carrying the weight of our trials and tribulations and you know, just educating us and you know he was wholesome, but he was also there to show us that tough love when it was needed, like, you know what I mean. And he used to bring me out everywhere. With him and his mates, like, he used to bring me mad places, man. I'd be like 6, 5, 7 years of age. He'd bring me fucking mad places with him and his mates. But yeah, they were mad deep into hip hop, man. And I remember, like, you know, kind of all started when I was about 12. Like, I got fucked out of school for 3 weeks. I got suspended, like, and you know, I'm stuck in my gaff, like, and my brother was stuck in the gaff as well. He wasn't doing work at the time because he hurt himself or something. So the two of us were just in the gaff, and my brother had a vast collection of CDs, like a mad collection of CDs, like, and I used to love heavy metal as a kid because my dad brought me up on rock, on classic rock, like Led Zeppelin, The Who, Blue Oyster Cult, Rush, you know, who else, man? You know, UFO, if anyone's ever heard of UFO, like, he brought me up on classic rock, like, so, you know, but my brother handed me a load of CDs anyway one day, and it just blew me fucking mind, like, you know what I mean? It was just everything, like, I couldn't really remember what CDs he handed me now.
But you remember the feeling?
I remember the feeling, and it was fucking insanity, man. Like, it blew me mind. Like, because when you're a kid, you're angry. When you're a kid, you're pissed off with everything, yourself, everyone around you, your family, school, everything. Like, you know what I mean? And I was a very, very angry young fella. Like, I had, you know, had nowhere to channel that into, like, you know what I mean? So, it just blew me mind, man. And when I seen he was doing, I was like, I want to be like him, like, do you know what I mean? So it kind of started there, and then and I was writing. Obviously, you're a kid, you don't have a clue, you don't have a, you know what I mean? You can't tell the difference between your toenail and your arsehole, like, so you don't have a clue, like. But that's the beauty of life, because you're there to learn. So I was there trying to write me little raps, and you know, it kind of, I met right well, shout out to Right Well.
Taught you how to write well. No, that's
we met Right Well. Anthony Cow when I was about 14, and he was rapping, and he was fucking amazing, like, especially for 14, man. He was ridiculous. He had like mad. He used to rap really fast. Like, he had the syllables, the cadence, the structure. Like, he was real intricate. Thank you. Yeah. And
it's an intricate word.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, like, he was fucking unbelievable. So me and him started hanging around. He used to go down to his gaff like every day. And I remember though, 2013. My dad used to give me pocket money every Friday, like a £5 or £3, whatever it was. You know what I mean? And one weekend he just handed me a score. He handed me 20 quid. I was like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? It felt like loud.
Oh, yeah.
And I walked into town, because me and Anto, right, well, we're getting deep into this. We are listening to loads of stuff on YouTube and all, and loads of fucking random albums and random tracks that were inspiring us at the time, and looking for instrumentals and all. And you know, we heard Kendrick Lamar, and you know, now obviously like a lot of rappers inspired me before that, but we heard Kendrick Lamar and our fucking minds are blown, like, you know what I mean? And I remember I walked into town with that score. I didn't get the bus because I wanted to keep the money, because the CD was a score. I walked into town. Golden Discs was still a thing at the time. This is 11 years ago. Oh, 9 years ago, sorry.
Yeah.
I got that CD. I walked back to his gaff, put the CD into his PS3. We listened to the whole album, no skips, and it blew our fucking minds. And that was the night that we were like, yeah, we're going to do this, man. This is what we want to do with ourselves.
Wow.
So that was when it kind of properly started. Listening to that album, Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar, is kind of official major debut album. Like, that was that just blew our fucking minds, man.
What? Because then, like, just my own, like, obviously I'm not super well versed in the hip, but when I listen to Kendrick Lamar, just what you touched on there, what I really liked when you're talking about Right Well, and something that I learned later, not learned, but sort of discovered, like syllables. Like, that's such an important factor. That's what gives music its rhythm. Like, if you, I find even with my songs, let's say, I've learned, like, why isn't this working? Why am I able to sing it? And if I get down to it, it's like I'm trying to do too many syllables, let's say. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you actually verbalize the syllables without saying them, like bam, ba ba bam, ba bam, ba bam,
exactly, yeah.
Then you can be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is.
So this is something that's mad, right? Because you reminded me when we first started writing, I was fucking awful, obviously, because you have to start somewhere. But I was like fucking writing, like, you know, 68 worded bars, and I'd be thinking that was just one sentence. You know what I mean? And I'd be there like, what the fuck? The boys would be like, what are you doing, man? That's not how. So one of the boys sat me down and played a Wu-Tang Clan song, Impossible, it's called, and there's a rapper on that song from the Wu-Tang Clan called You God, and his like flow and cadence was very easy to follow because the rhythm, he tied his rhythm to the instrumental, so it was very easy to kind of follow his rhythm. So, but I noticed, one of my mates sat me down one day because he was like, you're all over the fucking gaff, man. You cannot write a song like that or write a verse like that. He played that song and he was like, notice how at the end of every bar it ends on the kick. So he's like, there's 4 beats in a bar, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he was like, he just basically said like drum, kick, drum, kick. He was like, the end of every bar should end on the second kick.
Yes.
So when I listened to the verse,
like
I
the
noticed,
backbeat.
when I not instrumental, when I noticed every line he had ended on the second kick, and then the new bar would start. So then I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah,
So that's when, when I started writing me verses, I wrote them more structured, and that's how I learned how to have rhythm.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I was mad, because then I was fucking delighted. I was like, I can actually write now, like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, in a structured sense. So that blew me fucking mind. Like, but that's the thing about, you were saying, like, lyricist, man. Like, I am, you know, when I was younger, I'd listen to anything. Like, I wouldn't really, I'm not gonna lie, like, I listened to Kendrick Lamar's latest album, and that wouldn't be my taste now.
Yes.
It's an amazing album. It's very, very personal, vulnerable, and introspective. I'm into very aggressive underground hip hop.
Yeah.
I love like very aggressive underground hip hop because like I said, I'm a very emotional person. I'm very sensitive. I carry a lot of emotion within my heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the reason I like listening to that is because it's like it gives me power.
Mm.
But not like power isn't just it makes me feel empowered.
Yes.
Makes me feel stronger, you know what I mean? Mentally. You know what I mean? Like so I fell in love with that, like, you know what I mean? And you know, but a lot of the hip hop I listened to, they were lyricists. They considered themselves top tier lyricists, like, and they just didn't focus on concepts and topics. They focused on the mechanics of scripting a verse. There's mechanics to that shit, man.
Mechanics is such a fucking brilliant way of saying it, because that's what makes it much more. That's when I listen to you. I know that you care about the mechanics. It's clear that you, and with obviously you said lyricist, but the mechanics of words and double rhyming, I think is something that you do really well. And I'm just like, because double rhyming, I think it's like that for me. When I hear that, I'm like, that's like next level. And then obviously there's like, don't know if there's this lad. He's forget who he was, but he used to rhyme like he did like sentence rhymes, like he was like mad something or whatever. I forget who he was, but anyway.
MF Doom.
MF Doom.
Yeah.
MF Doom.
I had a feeling you were gonna say Mad Villainy there.
Mad Villain.
Which is
That's
an album.
That's a song. Yeah. So I'm not that well, but I'd listen to that just for the taste, like just to be like, see what he's doing. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm like, oh, that is fucking. You could take this to the next level, but I think eventually it gets to a place where it's not as there's a balance, let's say, between, okay, if you make it all about the rhyme and then you're sacrificing the content in a way, you know what I mean?
I've done that. I'm guilty of that. See, that's why I'm a tortured scholar. That's why, like, in many different senses.
Yeah.
But it can be torturous, man.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So there was nights I like 2021, man. Nearly all of 2021, I'd stay up till 4 a.m. Like, I'd wake up at fucking, let's say, like 9:30 every day. I'd stay up till 4 the next morning trying to fucking get, because like I'd end up writing, like, and see, I'm a cunt, man, for the simple fact that I write like 6-minute fucking tracks.
Yes.
Just because I love lyricism.
Yes.
I love portraying that. I love showing the skill that we have worked on for so long. But like, you know, then you have to think of the fact that song is so long, my lungs, I'm fucked. Can I perform that on stage? Would it be at gigs, man, trying to perform like 6.5-minute songs?
And it's just lyric after lyric.
And I'm like,
no respite at all.
Exactly, but the way that I write them, I do be in a fucking jock. Yeah, it's just constant.
Yes.
And then I'm like, right, I need to slow down. And then I'm like, I'm not satisfied with how slow that is, because I feel like, you know, I'm not able to portray the skill that I've acquired over the years through that. But that's a new, you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, now I'm sacrificing the concept
and so.
for the lyricism. And now it breaks me fucking heart.
That balance.
I'm trying to find it for the last fucking 5 years, man.
But that's like the art in itself, and that's why when I hear like your music, I like, because I write music myself. Like, I understand what it would take out of somebody to go to that extreme in a way, and especially when you're saying there, because there is a balancing act between, because rhyming, see what you described there, right? So let's say at the beginning you were just doing these big fucking, like, you didn't know about bars or like beats or whatever, right? But then you learned about the kick and the noticing, like da 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 da. So then, right, that gave you that constrained you, right? So before you had an infinite possibilities, right? But then this is what musical genres do, right? Because otherwise it would just be random noise, right? But genres actually, they give you the tools for doing a particular type of music, because otherwise you need constraints. Like, people don't realize this. You need constraints to create. Otherwise, you're like, because you could do anything then.
Definitely.
It's just crazy how much, like, and even with when you're just doing these fucking, they're like soliloquies or fucking whatever, like, they're like to be or not to be, because it's just no choruses, and then you have to perform them. Like, what do you feel like when you're performing them? Do you ever just think, oh, I should have given myself a fucking chorus somewhere, or to have a break or something?
Yes, every fucking time. Like, I have a track off my album now, And Daly is going to be on a shout out to Daly.
Oh, shout out to Daly as
Shout out
well.
to Daly, man. He's one of my best friends. What was I going to say? I have a track and it's called The Spiritless Assassin. And what was I going to say? But when I do that at live gigs, I merge that into 3 songs because the beat is 6 minutes long. You know what I mean? So I was like, I merged that into 3 songs on one beat, and like, I'm a bit like, oh man, like when I perform that, like, and I get halfway through it, I'd be on stage, like, trying not to fucking collapse, trying to breathe. And I'm like, I should have maybe, you know, put something in here for the live performance that would be able to give me just a moment to fucking capture myself and then go back into it. Like, but on the album, I finished writing my album there around May. It took me like 3 years to write.
Yeah.
And you know, I noticed like a lot of the tracks that we wrote beforehand, none of them had choruses at all. I struggle with choruses. I struggle with hooks. You know what I mean?
Is it because do you feel it takes away from the art form, or is it just
that kind of just a little like, because I have my own little niche now.
Yes.
I found my little formula. Do you know what I mean? And it's not that I'm comfortable with it, it's that I know it's what I'm best at, and it's what inspires me to write the most.
Yeah, like you're part of your style. You're
exactly.
Kaycii, like this is what you
exactly. Like, so that's why I look at them old school underground 90s aggressive hip hop beats, because that's when I'm in me bag the most. That's when I'm like, right, man. Like, I listen to them and you know, it comes to me. But if I was to listen to something more modern or something a bit different, I'd be there for fucking months.
Yeah.
Trying to, like, I don't know, it just goes straight into me soul, like, do you know what I mean? It does when I listen to them beats, like. But on the album, a lot of them have choruses.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of like, I do need to develop on that behalf, because I do want to engage the listener.
So that's the other part of it, right? Like, you are creating art, right? And you can say, if it was pure selfish, right? If it was just for you, then you wouldn't want to get it out to the world in any way, right? But art, there's a conversation with the artist and the listener, and you have to. This is what I'm realizing as well in my own stuff. Like, choruses for me, this is what I kind of wanted to get into a little bit. Music, I think, right, began as a memory sort of system. So it was used for passing down stories. So if why do we, you have to ask yourself, why? So the fundamental thing about the beat is the heartbeat, right? That's what we listen to, we're in the womb, right? And then noises and melody, we just be in the womb, like, listening to stuff, right? But rhyming, right? Rhyming is actually a way for our brains to easily remember information. And so if you say, like, oh, I went to the tree and then I had to take a pee, right? It's easier to remember that story, right? Because every time you say P, that connects to the next bit of the line. So it's like there's like this constant connection that keeps the story, the song going. And the rhyming is actually, for some reason, our brain loves rhyming, and it loves the resolving of rhymes, right? So that's one part of being able to remember music is rhyming. But structure, like choruses, right? So if you're just it's just like a 5-minute verse, it's real hard to like you have to listen to it a few times for it to go in. You know what I mean? And but for me looking in, you have something to say, right? You have a message, right? And sometimes, like, what's the best vehicle for that message? That's what you have to think.
Exactly.
And so if you think, okay, if I'm just doing these fucking soliloquies of just like just pure, it's like one whole, it's just a verse, the whole thing is a verse, then is that the best vehicle for the message?
That's an amazing question, and I feel like that's an amazing question.
But I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, like, for myself, like, the reason I started writing choruses, I wanted to start getting into writing choruses, was because, like, I mean, the thing is that see, the reason, like, I kind of do write in a selfish manner. I do it for myself first and foremost. And I do firmly believe that you should write for yourself more than anything. Make art for you.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Write the stuff you'd want to fucking hear.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why I was always writing like 200 fucking bar tracks and stuff. Because that's the shit I listened to growing up, and I was like, how the fuck does he do that? And I wanted to replicate that. But I think the reason I started writing choruses was that because I realised, like, you know, if I am to portray a message, I need to provide multiple ways that someone can grasp it.
Yes.
I need to keep the listener engaged because my music is for everyone, you know. And I know it's not, well, it's not for everyone actually. In terms of, I know a lot of people think it's very explicit, it's very dark, it's very aggressive, it's very.
But maybe the message is for everybody. In a
The
way.
message is for everyone, but the reason, like, that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, I want my music is for, like, first and foremost, it's for me mates
Yes.
from Crumlin, like, because, like I said, we grew up very, you know, around very dark things, like, you know what I mean. We grew up around fucking mad stuff, and
Yes.
you know, that's what I write for them first and foremost, so that, you know, they have something, like, you know. I'm speaking for the voiceless, you know what I mean?
For their pain.
For their pain, 'cause they won't ever speak about it, which is absolutely fine. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? In a sense, it is, because, you know, they have their own ways and methods of coping
Exactly.
with that.
You're a vehicle for it. You happen to have.
I'm the vessel.
You're the vessel. Yes.
Yeah, I'm the vessel, because that's the thing, man. Like, we need to, like, it's not only that though. Like, like, out straight, when I die, God forbid anytime soon, but when I die, I want the youth. If any youths do listen to me music, I want them to be able to learn something from it, and I hope, I pray that it encourages them to go a certain path. So
Yes.
that's why I like. There's loads of, I use loads of different, like, vehicles and methods for getting my message across. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm very blunt.
Yes.
I'm very, very blunt with my music, like, do you know what I mean? Because Plan B, you ever listen to Plan B? UK?
Yeah, he was brilliant.
He's an amazing artist.
That I'm not.
Yeah,
That's one of his songs.
incredible,
Yes.
absolutely incredible.
He does it all as well.
He
doesn't
does.
He?
He's a singer songwriter. He's a hip hop artist. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's fantastic. But he did a TED talk, right? And I have to say, this is one of the most inspiring things I ever listened to. And his first debut album, it's very, you know, explicit. It's immensely explicit. It's like the language he uses, like, you know what I mean? But he said the reason I speak in that tone, I use them words, and I speak in that aggressive manner is because that's the language that the youth speak in, where I come from. That's the only way I can communicate with them for now.
Yes.
So I have to speak in that tongue, so then they can understand me. And once I have that intention, that's when, or, you know,
Yes.
my language will be expanded into a way that I can educate them. Do you know what I mean? I'm
You
just
have to
paraphrasing.
You're trying to bridge them in a way.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, do you know what I mean? So that's why, that's one of the reasons I do. Like, at first it was just to sound fucking angry and blah, but then I actually realised, like, I have a tool here, like, do you know what I mean? And, like, the youth around Dublin, man, you know, a lot of them, they come from fucked up environments, they come from broken homes, they grow up around very, you know, violent and horrible circumstances. So they're going to be fucking angry.
Yes.
So we need to speak to them in that angry tone if I'm to ever communicate with them.
100%.
So that's why my music is so angry. Because a lot of people do say to me, it's like, man, you're so fucking angry. You know, you're always snapping and all. But it's not only that, it's therapy for me as well.
Yes.
Because I have a lot of anger deep inside of me that I never resolved, that I never healed from correctly. Yeah. So that's why my music's angry as well. Because like, I'm not a violent man. I don't like violence, I don't tolerate it, I don't condone it, like, you know what I mean? So rather than doing some stupid shit to cope, like, I use that as me therapy, like, you know what I mean?
Like punching the bag.
Yeah, man, exactly. That's my way of punching the bag,
yes.
like, you know what I mean? So that's why I always sound like mad fucking angry, like, you know what I mean?
Well, see, we have, like, as humans, like, we have all these ways of, we have, like violence exists in human society, and it's a terrible thing that exists, but there's something in us that facilitates that violence, and like we have to find other paths for it. Like, that's a much better path, like the spoken word, the lyrics, the rapping. And it's not even that, like, it's like you're so angry or whatever, all this stuff. It's like there's people out there, like you were saying, they have the anger, they know, like, that your music can touch the people that you're trying to reach because you're speaking at that frequency in a way.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's what I hope to do, man. That's really what I hope to do. I'm not in it for statistics. You know, I do hope to make a career out of it one day.
No,
I'm not
because
even,
think about it. It's not like if you can make a career, that means you make it financially viable. That means you can do it for longer, and you can
exactly.
So making it financially viable is actually a good thing to shoot for, because you could say, oh, I'm not, like, you might be in it for certain things, but you have to look at the world that we're in and see if I can maneuver in a particular way that would mean that I could do this more full time, well then I think that's okay to shoot for in a way. And we shouldn't care because we're doing fucking jobs that we mightn't even like or whatever. You know what I mean? Just to facilitate living. So it's like fucking right. Like if you could make it financially viable, and that means you can actually impact more people. And there's something that I wanted to touch on as well because I was listening to you allude to this in a few songs. I hope you'll hear this dearly when I'm up and gone. There's a clip of I think it was like an interview he put up. It was like something like hope to leave behind something for the community after I'm gone and dead in a box. And like I can resonate with this because I think about that like basically like every day. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I just know that I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
So even this podcast is a way of like doing what you're trying to do in a way. And my music, when I first released my first song, I was like, oh, thank God. Because like before that I had nothing out there. And I was like, thank God, at least if I was gone. I don't know what it is. I actually have something that's there that my loved ones can, like other people can facilitate. But for you, it's like that knowledge that you know you're gonna die in a way. It feels like you're very aware of that fact.
Yeah. Yes. Big time. Because the reason for that is because me and my mates, we lost someone there in 2018, and you know, it was fucking, you know, horrifying in a sense, like, you know what I mean? And you know, it was like, you know, it really makes you fucking think, like, in a sense of like, how do I explain it? The reason I think the reason I'm so like I'm not infatuated with it, but I do think of him, man, because like it's kind of the motivator.
Yes.
In a sense, man. It's like we could fucking go tomorrow, man. God forbid.
Yeah.
We could. It's the harsh reality of life, man.
I know.
Is that it is not guaranteed.
Yes.
It's
guaranteed that we're gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. But life tomorrow isn't.
Yes.
That's a very harsh reality, and the reason I grasp that is because look, I was saying we lost someone a few years ago. And like just so unexpectedly, and it was horrifying. And you know, that was a very rough time in life for me. It was an immensely dark time because like I was drinking a lot.
Yeah.
I was you know, and the boys were doing that thing, like, but you know, they be engaging in things like, you know, fucking that could fucking kill you, like, do you know what I mean? You could, you know, and I was kind of like, you know, right, I need to get up and so much to get my shit together now, man, because I don't want to fucking, you know, I don't want to leave. First of all, I want to leave something behind, and second of all, like I don't want to like I want to be fulfilled before I do it, or even make an effort to be fulfilled, man, because like, you know, people go every day, man, like, you know what I mean?
And one day will be the day that we go.
Yeah.
And this is what I like, because I think some people don't, the gravity of what it means that we're gonna die.
It's severe.
Like, it's massive. Like don't you get it? Like, don't you fucking get it? No, but see, I mean it. Like the experiences I've with psychedelics, and especially weed has been the most instructive in this. You can tighten that thing as well.
Right.
Hold on,
it's all good. Oh, we got it.
Oh, God, just making sure the power's on the fucking camera as well.
We got it.
So on weed, anytime I've had like the realization of like death, sometimes like weed has shown me like the real weight of that, like, and it means like, you know, what we do here is temporary, and we have to really make the most out of it. And if we can, and I think everything we do, like this idea of like of legacy or whatever, it's inbuilt into us. I think as a fundamental part of our human spirit in a way. Like there's everything we do, like if you break it down, it comes back to survival. And then anything that we try to do while we're here comes because we know the fact that we know that we're going to die means that our creative works or whatever we do here is the only thing that can like be sort of passed on after we go. So we're trying to combat basically the knowledge that we're going to die. We're basically combating that with what we do.
That's exactly my point, man. Like I've got so much to lose now.
Yes.
That's a beautiful thing in life. I know that sounds quite grim, but it's actually quite beautiful because, you know, I was at a point in my life when my friend passed that I had nothing to lose. Like I felt like I had nothing to lose, and that's a horrible thing to feel, man. That's a very dangerous thing to feel. That can drive someone fucking mad, man, that you have nothing to lose, because then you don't give a fuck about nothing.
Yes.
About yourself, about the people around you, your family. You don't give a fuck about how your mates feel, your family feel. You know what I mean? And, you know, that's the thing, man. A bit of a grim topic, like, but I went a bit off the head in 2018, 2019. Like, I went off the head, like, you know, I went a bit mad. And, you know, my mates brought me to hospital because, you know, they were worried about me, like, you know what I mean? And they were deeply worried about me, man, because, like I said, I was drinking. Like, I used to fucking, when I started drinking, like, on a regular basis, like, it was amazing. Because I numbed everything. Me anxiety, me concern, me insecurities, me depression, me anger, everything. It numbed everything. I felt so fucking, like, and you feel, see the, but also it kind of gives you, like, this toxic courage.
Yes.
That you can face anything. But it's so negative, it's so toxic. So that became a bit of a problem. I didn't know how to drink responsibly. And I used to drink. It got to the point where I drink in the morning. First thing I do in the morning is have fucking cans, like.
Wow.
You know what I mean? This is around 2018. I used to fucking get shit-faced all the time, and I'd end up, like, not accidentally, but I'd end up, like, kipping in my local park. Like, that's how shit-faced it'd be. I'd go to the park by myself.
Wow.
And have cans, because I numbed how I felt. And it was just my way of winding down. A coping mechanism, but it's a horrible coping mechanism.
Of course, yeah.
And, you know, I think out of matters of privacy and respect, I won't get too deep into it, but alcoholism, unfortunately, was a very negative part of my life. You know, not like for me doing it, but other people doing it, like, you know what I mean? And it really fucked me up as a kid, like, you know what I mean? So I think then, I not saying it's like hereditary or it steeps down, but, like, I think I kind of, you know,
I'm from the exact same situation. A lot of alcohol around me as I was coming up. I'm off alcohol now the last nearly 3 years.
Man, fair play to you.
But when I was younger, I didn't have any. There was never like a darker element. But there was moments where I was in London on my own, and I remember I got a bottle of wine off my boss, and I didn't know anyone in London, so I remember I put it in like a protein fucking thing, and I was going around drinking this wine, right? And I remember feeling, no wonder people do this, because it makes everything just like takes off the pain. Like my dad, like he'd have like a few cans like at night, but he had a horrendous time when he was a child. He had one of the hardest lives ever, right? And like the love of his life died. He was left with his 3 kids.
Sorry.
So yeah, like he dealt with it whatever way he could. You know what I mean? Like but that the numbness that you're describing, I can understand that, and I can see why. Because it's just like it's a coping mechanism for just the pain, and we can fall into a trap with that, because we just, like you were saying, going on your own away, like you just think this is fine, but because you're just so in it, you've just become so in it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like I used to, I had major anxiety back then, like major anxiety, to the point where there'd be days I just wouldn't leave me gaff. Like I wouldn't leave me gaff for like 2 or 3 days. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't head out, or, you know, I couldn't socialise. Like, you know what I mean? So. But yeah, man, it's mad what alcohol can do to you, like, you know what I mean? The fact that but you don't really, I came to the point where, like, I was kind of like, I do want to kind of feel these things. I don't want to be dead inside.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And that's why I was becoming dead inside, if you get me. Like, but I got to the point as well, I was bottling the issues. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't, like, tell anyone what I was really going through. I wouldn't speak to nobody, like, do you know what I mean? And then you combust, you explode. When you bottle things up, you know, the pressure builds, and you combust. And that's what happened, man. So I kind of had like this little epiphany at the time. You know what I mean? And it's kind of all comes full circle, man. Like the music and everything I went through in life, man. I just don't want I wouldn't wish what we went through on anyone else.
Yes.
So that's kind of the main motive of why I do it, because my friends, man, again, out of respect and privacy, I won't get too deep into it, but they went through some horrendous and severely fucked up shit, like as kids, man, and in their lives, and, you know, from maybe, you know, drug addiction, watching their loved ones being addicted to drugs, to witnessing severely violent things, and and that the poxy thing about that is that they think that's the blueprint they should follow.
Yes.
When life provides them with challenges.
Yeah, because that's all they know. That's all they've shown.
That's all they're kind of shown. You know what I mean? So I'd be there like watching my mates going through some major fucked up shit. I was going through fucked up shit, and that's like kind of the main motive of the music. It's kind of to like inspire me mates. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
show them the other way.
Show them the other way, and to make sure that whoever does listen to it, I really hope I can encourage them with the message I provide. That first and foremost, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I know it's a very cliche saying. You probably hear it every day.
But it's cliche for a reason. See, like, cliches are cliches for a reason because they're so fucking good. You know what I mean? Like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's one of the best, like, sayings ever.
There is, man. I'm telling you now, like, there really is. Like, I'm fucking telling you, like, it is possible. Because that's the thing, man. Hopelessness. A lot of people don't necessarily, like, when they talk about mental health, like, I notice a lot of people don't talk about hopelessness. Like you can fall deep into that, man. You can just feel like, what the fuck is the point? Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And you can kind of, you don't see the reason I say that's light at the end of the tunnel is because sometimes, like, your vision may be cloudy because of what you're going through. Like, you know what I mean? And they're going through such a dark time that you can't see that light at the end of the tunnel. But even if you can't see it, just keep going forward, man, because you will reach it one day. Like, you know what I mean? That's what mental health is a big part of what I do, man. It helps me cope. It's healthy. It's a healthy outlet. You know what I mean?
It's actually interesting. Just because the way you've described it there, like light at the end of the tunnel. When you just need to keep moving forward, like you're right. When we take these cliches for granted, because I just think when I think of that, I literally. In my head, the light is just there, and I can see the light, and I'm moving towards it. But sometimes the tunnel is so fucking dark, and you're like, "Where the fuck is this going? I don't know." And you're stuck, and you might even be getting worse. You might even be going fucking further into the darkness. But when you find something that you can hold on to, and it doesn't matter how slow it is or how much progress you're making. As long as you're moving in a hopefully positive direction, that's the most important thing.
It's the most important thing, man. I'm always telling people, man, baby steps. Like, I know a lot of people and they're very encouraged, enthusiastic, and then they fucking dive head first. Sometimes that can be great. Sometimes it can be a little catastrophic at times. But, look, I'm always telling people, man, baby steps. It doesn't matter how slow you're moving, as long as you're moving forward in a healthy manner. That's all that fucking matters, man.
Yes, and because if you... this applies to so many things. Like if you're learning a new skill or trying to instill a new habit, right? Let's say, I'm going to start playing guitar 6 hours a day, right? I go to try to do it, I fail because I give up, and then I think, I failed at that goal. But if I had said, I'm going to pick up the guitar 3 times a week for at least 10 minutes a day, and I start doing that, then I start winning. I'm winning, and I'm showing myself that I can do things if I put my mind to it.
Exactly.
And that's what the beauty is. You need to set up manageable goals.
Exactly, man. Do you know what I mean? You need to set up manageable goals. And not only that, man, you need to... I know it's like as well, one thing I always used to do is I always used to do stuff for the people around me rather for myself. You know what I mean? Do it for yourself, man. Do it for your own, like... fucking, whether it be amusement or whether it be, your own happiness or whether you're just trying to be productive, whatever the fuck it is, man, do it for yourself first and foremost. It's not selfish. You know what I mean? That's one thing in life you need to do as well. Like, unless, like, regarding the circumstances, unless you have family, like kids and stuff, you know what I mean? But you do need to put yourself numero uno, man. It's not narcissistic. It's not selfish.
But even in them situations, if you don't look after yourself, then you're not in a position to look after other people.
Anyone else, yeah, exactly, man. And that's the thing, man. Like, you need to put yourself fucking first, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really do. Like, you need to. Like, this is the thing. That's what I'm doing with myself, man. Like, sometimes I withdraw, but not for a reason of, like, sometimes I need to withdraw from a lot of stuff, man, to fucking just, reflect. Take a fucking breather, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone has different ways of coping with stuff, man. Everyone has different methods and means to, get through the day or to get through the week, get through the month, get through the year. Everyone has different means and methods, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, that's what I do, man. I like to withdraw. I like to take a step back and to be kind of left alone, to be honest. Sometimes I need to be left alone because I need to hear myself think because, like we were saying on the way down here, man, balance. I'm trying to learn how to balance work life, family life, you know, music, my friend
Friends,
group.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, I'm trying to.
It gets chaotic.
It gets immensely fucking chaotic, man, and that's what really like. That's the thing. Like I'm like the big brother in my friend group, like of like me, the friends I grew up with.
Yeah.
I'm like the big brother in a sense. In a certain way, so like there was a long time the boys would come to me quite a lot, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I cared about them deeply, so I'd always make sure, like, you know, phone call, doesn't matter what time of the night it is, I'd answer the phone. If I was out at a gig, I'd walk outside, I'd be on the phone for an hour. I don't give a bollocks, like, as long as they're happy and okay. But I noticed then throughout the I was helping people rather than helping myself all the time. I was
Yes.
always attending to other people's needs constantly. I was always doing stuff to make other people happy.
Yes.
I was always going out of my way and sacrificing things that were immensely important to me to make other people
Yes.
feel happy. And, you know, that gets severely unhealthy over time.
Oh, yes.
Severely unhealthy, especially when you're sacrificing parts of yourself and things that you really want to do
Yeah.
for other people.
And then you get
constantly.
resentful for helping people in a way.
Exactly, and it's not even their fault. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But, you know what I mean? So you need to, you know, balance. That's what I was talking about. I'm trying to find balance in
Yes.
everything I do, man.
There's like as humans, right? You might think that you're, let's say if you had a child, right, and you would think if your child, this is obviously from Jordan Peterson, like who has probably shaped most of my ideas, but he describes this, so like imagine your child was really annoying you, right? You might think you'd never like feel resentful towards that child, right? But if you let your child just run rampant and piss you off, right, and even if you're looking after someone who is sick. Right, imagine you're God forbid, someone you loved went into an illness and you have to wheel them around, right? You, as a human, there's like we can't help. Like, although it's terrible, we'd probably build up resentment when we're fucking. There'd be times where we feel, fuck, this is really pissing me off, right?
Yeah.
And that's like, that's like we're not fucking saints, and like, and you don't have to be a saint because we're just human in a way.
The greatest saints were sinners.
Yes, exactly.
The greatest saints were sinners.
Because because we're fundamentally human in a way, and then if we allow ourselves to get resentful, that's what we have to be careful. If you allowed yourself to get resentful for helping people, then you start acting out against the people that you're trying to help, and they don't even know why. Because they don't see the grander picture. They just see like your one-on-one relationship, but they don't see all the other stuff you're sacrificing, and then you're not speaking to it. And even in a house where, like Anne was talking about, sometimes you leave the socks around the girl, right? If she didn't say that, eventually it's gonna blow up, and she'd be like, I can't take the fucking socks anymore. So you have to speak to it.
Do.
You have to speak to
Communicate.
it. Yes.
You do. But see, there's also an issue as well. Like I notice what a lot of people like that, if they ever come to me and they need to speak about, they feel like people won't understand. Or sometimes people do not understand.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that, I know, it's like that can cause a lot of difficulty, man. You know what I mean? So there needs to be a fair kind of, you know, what would the word be? Like, I think that's a big issue, man. Like, especially sometimes with myself as well. I'm guilty of not understanding, and people sometimes don't understand where I'm coming from. So, you know, you need to kind of, you know, I don't know what the solution to that would be. Maybe provide a way that they could understand. But I noticed that as well, man. Like, I noticed that's a problem with the world today, is lack of understanding.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I think people have become, like, I think in general, over the past few years, like, life has been fucking chaotic for everybody, no matter where you come from, what background, what you're doing. Life was hard for everybody.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who you were and what shoes you're stepping in. You know what I mean? But I noticed now over the past couple of years, the fact that life has been so chaotic and, you know, very unexpectedly, you know, dark for a lot of us, that people have grown to be resentful. People have grown to be like less understanding towards, you know, other people, and it's a horrible thing to see, man. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm always trying to tell people. Let's say, for argument's sake, you know, someone comes to me, one of the boys is pissing him off. He's not talking shit, he's just venting though. He's like, I didn't like how he did that, maybe, you know. But I'm always trying to say, well, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but try look at the broader picture. I might provide you with a bit of clarity and a bit of closure. You know what I mean? I'm not saying tolerate what he did. I'm not trying to justify it, but if you can see maybe behind why he done that, that might provide you with a bit of closure, and you might be able to come together, figure something out.
You'll be able to come together much easier if you try to understand a person. And this is I'm so happy to touch this because this is the problem that I want to, with this podcast, I realised that there's enough podcasts and stuff about opinions on one side or another.
Yeah, man.
But as much as I can, and obviously I'm only human and I have my own biases towards certain things. Or
Of course.
I want to try and be like, all right, let's look at it from this perspective. Let's look at it from this perspective and try to get a more rounded understanding, because what you're saying there, it's like, first, we rush so fast to condemn. We condemn.
Yeah, we
and we
do.
don't try to understand.
No, we don't, man. And that's one thing I'm guilty of. So, for example, like I used to judge people instinctively because of my own insecurities.
Yes.
Oh,
You judge yourself harshly, you judge the world harshly.
Yeah, exactly. I used to judge people on that background, like where they came from, and like because I used to compare it to maybe my upbringing, which my upbringing was good, by the way. Like I'm not saying that, but where they came from, do you know what I mean, and what I went through. And I used to be like, oh, he wouldn't fucking have a clue because he's from here. Like, do you know what I mean, that's cruel. It's a cruel thing to do, man. And I used to so. I kind of like had to look deep inside of myself and stop like unleashing my stress, anger, trauma, etc., anxiety, insecurity onto other people, man. Because I noticed, and I noticed a lot of people are doing that, man. You know what I mean? We're very judgmental. I think social media plays.
Yes.
No, I don't think I know. Social media plays an immensely huge fucking part of that, especially with music, and it pisses me off, man. Like it's very, it's unnecessarily kind of what would the word be? It's very cutthroat, man. You know what I mean? I know it's not even just with music, with any kind of outlet or format, man. People on Instagram, social media, always comparing and stuff. I hate social media.
Yes.
Man. I fucking despise social media. I despise it so much because I think it just. Oh, the things it does to people's minds, man, and to their souls, to their hearts, man. It's so toxic, man. I had to get off it there for a while. And it wrecks me head because I have to end up getting back on it.
I know.
To maybe share something, promote something for people, which I'm not complaining about. But I just wish there was a better kind of place to do it.
Yes.
Because I find like Instagram, I fucking... Oh,
you have to, so like with all these social platforms, so these are the current tools that let's say musicians have, or anyone that's out there trying to get a message across that they have, right? Now there are problems with all these things, so imagine with social media, depend on how you need to kind of look at your, let's say the feed of information you're consuming, realize what's making you unhappy versus unhappy or happy. And try to just like mute or unfollow. Like even if Basil Breen is pissing you off, you should really but you should listen to your gut, right?
Yeah,
and if something's resonating with you, then it's like, okay, that's making me feel good. Seeing and like for me, I'm building up like I'm just following loads of people's fucking like social media things that are like you and all these like musicians who are trying to like do something with their music, and I'm just like yeah, and that's making me feel good. You have to be the gardener in a way and remove the weeds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
For
a quick toilet break.
You fucking go take a piss, right? And we'll be right back after these messages. And we are back after our bladders have both been emptied, and we were kind of getting into social media and stuff a bit, and just being the gardener of your own emotions in a way, I think is the most important thing. But you have to realize, like we live in a world where these platforms, it's unfortunate that they promote a lot of negatives. Like they take basically humans' wants and needs for validation, and like just captures that and puts it in a pill and just gives it to loads of people. And then comparison, like you were touching on there, when we compare ourselves to other people, it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Why am I there? That causes so much suffering, comparison, I think.
Yeah, it does, man, because that's what I'm saying. I actually believe that social media stunts our growth. Well, no, I believe it's capable of doing so, because I used to be like that. I used to look at other people and be like, oh man, he's releasing so much fucking music and stuff, and he's the you get stuck, you get trapped in this. You get trapped in this part of your mind, But not only that, man, I think social media is really bad for your soul. I think it can affect your morals deeply. I'm a very moral person. I hold me morals and values very tightly, deeply, and I move with them. I think it's a very important thing, like to do so. Like I cared about kindness. I cared about how people feel deeply, man. Even sometimes, like, maybe, like, you know, you might get the toughest cunt in the room, and, you know, I cared about how that person feels, like,
Yeah.
deeply. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, how, you know, how soft you are, how tough you are.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I care, but I really feel that social media can encourage people to violate their values and morals. Like, I'm always, man, like, I'm looking at some people's stories, and there's like Instagram stories of people being severely fucking harmed, like people
Yes.
getting, you know, hurt. And it's like this, you know, like you might see like a, you know, a funny video of someone falling over, you know, it's all right, like, but I'm watching videos, you know, people fucking severely harming each other, and people are just effortlessly
Yes.
sharing that shit, and you're like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck is going? You know what I mean? Like, do you not feel like, you know what? Like, it's not. I don't know, man. Like, because then it's just mad, man. I can't wrap my head around
Yeah.
that.
So you're alluding to there. It's massively dangerous when we're just like there's terrible videos out there of humans doing things to other humans and stuff we're not even aware of. And you know, I've been people have tried sending me stuff on WhatsApp, let's say, but you know, I just don't. If I don't reply back to it, then I just kind of let it die out. But some people, there's groups, right, where people are just like,
Yeah.
oh, look at this killing.
Yeah, man,
oh,
work
look what
groups.
happened to his.
It's
yeah.
always work groups.
Oh.
That's what annoys me the most, man. You see videos of people getting like fucking, you know, severed limbs and all.
Yes.
And like, what the fuck, man? Don't.
I know.
No,
and what is it? Yeah,
crazy.
why would we want to? Even the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary, I feel like I want to protect my psyche a bit from trauma in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
man.
so when so like some things I'll just be like, all right, I don't want to watch, even though it looks really interesting. Like, do I want to know like how terrible human? I already know how terrible we can
man.
get.
Yeah, fact, 100%.
But yeah, with the video and like we're not, especially with young children, like you can see, you know, there's a massive correlation with like teenage suicide, especially for young girls. It's real unfortunate, because you know, their value structure like is more on their appearance, like, and especially at a young age when we're and the society is portrayed like kind of shoves them into a place where it's like it's important, like you're going to be judged on your beauty in a way, right? Men, in a cultural way, like we're judged on like our wealth or our success. You know what I mean? So we both have like our cross to bear, but because social media elevates image and like comparison of like beauty, or I'm getting this many likes versus this, for girls it's much more dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with that, to be honest. And that's the thing, man. Like, I notice, like, male or female, like, you know, I can't listen to what some mad cunt on Instagram tells me to do. I just can't.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily ignorance, but it's
Yeah.
more of, like, you know, in a sense that, like, it's, how do I put it? Like, I'm trying not to sound like an ignorant fucker here.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's more on the lines of, like, you know, you have this fucking mad bastard telling me that basically I'm nothing because I don't have like this and this
Yes.
success, and that's why I need to get up every day. It's like, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
You feel everything. Like, don't just.
Yeah, you're just putting stuff on me that I don't need.
Yeah, good for you, man. You drive a Lamborghini. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's not gonna bring me happiness,
No.
man. What brings me happiness is, you know, that I get to wake up every day, everyone around me is healthy and okay,
Yes.
and that, you know, I'm trying, like, you know what I mean? That's what brings me happiness, man. Like, and everyone has different definitions of success.
Oh yes.
And I think that's what you need to be mindful of. I think we need to be mindful of that. Well, you don't have to. You can do what you want.
Yeah, you can do what you want, but no, you're right. And no, it's dangerous. The danger is, right, let's say if there's like you go ahead, pour from the beaker.
Fucking Pyrex.
So, yeah. So if you let's say if you think there's only one way to be successful, then if you're not measuring up to that, then you're not going to be successful. You need to define what success means for you, and don't let others and the world suggest what
and
you
dictate
need.
how you should fucking feel.
Exactly.
People need to learn how to think for themselves.
Yes,
man.
they need, yes.
I've only started doing that. Sorry to interrupt you. I've
No,
only
please.
started to doing that in the last fucking year, and it's been amazing. It's such a healthy thing, man. Like, you know what I mean? You don't need to follow the footsteps of others. You could definitely be influenced by it as long as it's healthy, and you think that that's a good, you know, blueprint to follow. But, you know, people need to start thinking for themselves, man. I really do think, rather than just kind of jumping on this fucking, whatever, like, you know, just as long as it's
Whatever it
healthy
is, yes.
and positive, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not saying, you
Yes.
need to stop thinking like this, but, you know, just as long as it's healthy for
Well,
yourself and positive.
like, so let's say you're in a situation, right, where you were born into like it's like not anyone that's like any life that's not your own. It's like you can't compare against it because it's literally so different. Like it's like it's crazy how like it's like apples and oranges, but like, you know, to the a millionth degree, because there's no way you can compare. And to say, let's say the people that are rich, it's like, well, they're that person, and then we're just whoever we are and whoever you are, and we don't have to you don't have to be like, oh, I need this to be happy. I think obviously happiness, the biggest lesson is like nothing is going to make you happy. Like you have to kind of be happy within. And then happiness isn't going to be, it's something that comes and goes. You know, it's not like you're always in a state of happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what, like, you know, that's what I mean. You should try, like, you know, like everyone, like I said, everyone has their own ways of coping, man. But it's essential, in my opinion, that like you said there, happiness comes and goes, man. So it's essential that whatever works for you, you use it in them times where happiness goes, man. Do you know what I mean? And as long as it's healthy, man. Because, you know, I know it's like, like you were saying, like suicides, like everything, like we live in some crazy fucked up times right now, man. Do you know what I mean? So it's really important you look after yourself, man. I notice like a lot of people close to me are sacrificing their well-being quite a lot for some things, like, and, you know, I'm always fucking telling them, man, you need to fucking sit down and relax, man. You need to take a breather, like, you know. And they're like, no, but if I relax, then blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, stop being so hard on yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Stop fucking, you know,
whipping yourself in a way.
Yeah, man. Do you know what I mean? Be kind to yourself, man.
Yeah.
Be kind
Look
to yourself.
after yourself.
Yeah, man. Be kind to yourself, you know.
Yeah, because I get into, like, I've come through that as well, where you know, this hustle porn on Instagram. It's like hustle, fucking do this, do that, and I do a lot of things, but I'm not as I give myself a lot more of a break now, because you get into a place where you're trying to spin too many plates, and then plates start falling, and then you feel like shit, and then you're like, oh, I'm not waking up on, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. But yeah, you have to just you need to find your own rhythm, and don't try to let other perceived rhythms dictate. You need to, but you do need to, I think, hopefully learn from basically making some mistakes in this domain. And it's interesting because, like, yeah, like with the suicide and stuff, like I've never been to that dark. I think after my dad died, I got very nihilistic about the world. I just thought, what's the point? I was very sort of like rationally. I was just like, oh, there's obviously no meaning to the universe. Like, it's all just ones and zeros and just nothing, right? But I've come through that now in a way. But like with your music, I don't know if you actually be willing to do a few bars, maybe, or even the whole song of like the Torture's Scholar.
I can try. I think I remember the lyrics.
You can do a bit. You can just do a bit, but just because there's a bit. I hope I'm not putting it on the spot or anything. Because because there's a few lines I'd love to get into a little bit. I should have mentioned this before, like, but
yeah, you did.
But anyway, you don't have to go through you don't have to do the whole thing, but whatever you're comfortable with.
Right. Okay. Our philosophy was dust to dust and ashes to ashes. Cause we're living backwards, always trying to adjust to the madness. The only time I've seen the boys shit themselves is when the guard were riding gaffs and they went to flip the wrong mattress. We used to laugh at criminal philosophies until they prophesized. And now the boys, the TDs, the papers are trying to economize off the pain and grief that's leaving our culture sodomized. My beliefs and integrity, I'll never compromise. Me cousin's a father trying to hide the fact he's traumatized and doesn't know how to cope when he's reminded of all the times of the violence and deaths that left his mind ostracized. Worried he'll snap to a point where he can't swallow pride. Now I'm following the very same corrupted footsteps. Feel like Michael Corleone, feel like I should verbally murder all of these cunts until there's fucking none left. Mentally fucked, feel like I'll have to die to just rest. I'm paranoid and anxious, depressed and I'm crazy. Broke as fucking drink until the pain doesn't faze me. Realising it's my demons that define Kaycii. Look is possessed by either Lucifer or fucking Hades. Never knew what I was aiming to be, like a cockeyed marksman. I was convinced the only way to survive was being heartless. To me brother just hold your head high through all of the hardships, cause your heart is the fire that'll guide you through the darkness. A killer priest that meditates and prays with this rap shit. Mental's heavy with the weight of living on the dark side. Local playgrounds covered in syringes and some crack pipes. Bloody nights as the boys rendezvous in the parks light. I wonder, will we ever survive a classist apartheid? Will we have the strength to get through all of the hard times? I contemplate slitting me wrists with a sharp knife. I might hide me tears, but listen close, you'll hear me heart cry. If it wasn't for Anne and Kenneth, I'd be in a wooden box with me ma wondering what went fucking wrong. The only weapon against me depression is the script of another song that I hope you cherish dearly. When I'm up and gone, I never lose sleep, cause it's the cousin of the reaper. I've only encountered sorrow, always been a knowledge seeker. I'm in crumbling down God's work like an evangelist. I was never built to be a vicious cunt or even ravenous. A passionate pacifist with challenges, using me words that evolve working class environments like an activist, a spiritual philanthropist with some anger that is cancerous. Freddy Krueger's furnace is buried inside me abdomen. Me voice box is channeling the power of God. So even though I'm hell's messenger, it's angels that I'm standing with. People took me kindness as a weakness and used me emotions just to gamble with, cause me power's intimidating to these people. So then they turn into strategists. When I cleanse me soul, demons enter the microphone and rapping in. Thinking about the past and I might start travelling. But leaving Dublin, man, I could never try to fathom me. Hop at the dart of a Vader before the skywalk like Anakin. And going through changes, listening to Black Sabbath shit. Or the Unforgiven, maybe Saint Anger by Metallica. Schizo cunt, I really hope I don't fucking snap again. And smash these walls up, me knuckles have damages. I meditate and battle it. I looked at like I'm sacrilege. End up in James's in the psych ward where they establish this mental patient is the definition of what manic is. Mistakes I made in the past that made me feel inadequate. Trying to convince myself this is a reality, like a junkie begging for answers off of a fucking illusion. It's still be questioning who I've been moving with lunatics. I'm losing it and hypnotized by the lunar eclipse. It does influence this spiritual variable pugilist. The puke spit fluent influenza fluids with the fucking nucleus. So that more that it beats a summon Hiroshima and a nuke this shit. I'm the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest. Oh, I'm wondering who was next. Yeah! Get
that fucking in here! Oh my god! Thank you fucking so much.
Thank you so much.
No.
Thanks for letting me do that.
That's brilliant. So there's a few things in this. First of all, because I think the flew over the cuckoo's nest. Like, is that it's a film of some kind?
It's a film. Yeah. So the whole inspiration for the track was that me and my cousin, like I said, we went through some dark times, and if you look at the cover of the song, that's me cousin getting arrested, smiling in the photo, you know. And my cousin's a big inspiration for me, man, you know, because he went through some mad shit. He's a strong fella, man. You know what I mean? He's a tough fella, man, and he has his family now. He has his own family, two me goddaughters, two beautiful kids. You know what I mean? And his missus, like, and it was just amazing, man. It was amazing to see his growth because, you know, it was just crazy, man. He had some mad life. He is not had. He has a mad life, like in a sense, like he just went through some mad shit. And, you know, me and him kind of went a bit crazy, you know, and in a sense, like, and that's what the one, I watched the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest recently, and it is a film. It's a film with Jack Nicholson, and basically tries to escape some charges and like kind of pleads the fifth so he can go to a mental home rather than prison. Sneaky fucker, like, you know what I mean? And he kind of realises, he's like, fuck, man, this really is kind of fucked up, because he's in a psych ward with very mentally ill people. Yes. And that's what I was just kind of like, you know, I don't know what, like, it was just, we were going crazy. So the tortured scholar, like, you know what I mean? I'm a scholar, I'm an apprentice, I'm a student who flew over the cuckoo's nest, because it was everything in life that was driving me crazy. Yes. It was the music, it was like family life at times. A family will always drive you crazy. I mean that from a good place, you know what I mean? But loads of trials and tribulations, like, you know what I mean? So
who's next? Like, I wonder who's next.
Yeah, because like the reason I said that was because we were all kind of going mad at one point, like me and my mates, like, and you know, we're just kind of panicking, because that's what we kind of said, that, you know, me and me mate and me cousin were having a conversation recently, because someone who is kind of close to us is kind of going through a very dark time. He's kind of doing some mad shit at the minute. Yeah. And, you know, my cousin said something very grim to me. He was kind of like, you know, this person is going through this. This person's at the doing this, and this person is now doing this. So who the fuck is next?
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Brilliant.
You know.
I just thought, because when you said I wonder who was next, I was like, oh, what does this mean? Like, there's something here. Especially, I know of the kind of concept of the film, but I didn't know too much about it. There's another really good line. I suppose the whole song, it's like it's just like It's like first of all, you're growing up, you're dealing with like the trauma and stuff. You're speaking to trauma, and then you're kind of verbalizing the sort of consequences on yourself, like of what that trauma was in a way. And then sort of trying to come out the other side, which is it's a great kind of just like it captures like a good portion of story in a way. And what I like is just this. I resonate with this line. This line stuck out to me the very first time I listened to it. Feel like I have to die to just rest, right? Because I've had dreams where I've died, and I've experienced. In those dreams, they're very instructive. Like, you might say whatever, but they showed me, like, in that moment just before you die, that there's a relaxation. That, like, not even that when you die it's rest, but the moment before death is when you can go, I don't need to do all this stuff. In a way.
That's the thing, man. There's a lot of meaning behind that line. So, you know, like I said, it was just referring back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, you know, it's balance.
Yeah.
And again, like, it's mad when I kind of can't get into too much out of respect
you're
for
fine,
other people. But like I said, I was the big brother in my friend group, and you know, you're trying to balance your own personal trials and tribulations, and excuse me, and you're trying to help your mates, and you're trying to make sure your family are okay, and you're trying to get your shit together, and you know. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I was really in a bad spot a few years ago. I know I keep saying that.
Yeah.
And, you know, responsibility was a scary thing for me, man. I always avoided responsibility. I avoided it because I knew, like, I was going through so much that, you know, I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. Like I was saying to you, so my like, way of escapism was just staying away from people, playing Xbox and just... not socializing, you know what I mean? But then, like, I kept doing that. And, like, not only that, like, just even having a few cans to myself when I learned how to drink responsibly, it was just avoiding everything, man. And I didn't want, like, to get out into the world. And, you know, I didn't want to fucking do what I suppose by societal standards we're supposed to do, because I just avoided everything, man. Do you know what I mean? And anytime I did kind of get up on my feet and kind of go out into the world, everything just went really fucking bad. Like, and you know, so it was just kind of like, you know, man, I want to withdraw from everything because I am sick of this fucking bullshit. Like, I am sick of all this crap. So that's what it was, the kind of line was about. It was like mentally fucked. I feel like I'll have to die to just rest.
Yes!
I'll never be able to rest, like, do you know what I mean? But now I've come to grips and come to acceptance with that, you know, I'm at a point in my life now, I have a job.
Yeah.
I love walking, you know what I mean? I have a lot to lose now. That's what I'm saying. So that was the biggest motivation for me, getting up off my arse and, you know, kind of...
finding things in your life that provided you with meaning that you would hate to lose.
Exactly, like, you know, so, you know, just being productive, getting a job, you know, providing for myself, you know what I mean? And looking after myself, like, you know...
Yeah,
that was kind of the meaning behind that line, I suppose. Like.
Yeah, no, like, and it's just like a cascade of many meanings in a way. The deeper you get into it, because in the song as well, like, you've obviously gone to like the darkest of the dark, like, you know, contemplate slit my wrist with a sharp knife, like that's like the like at them, like, that's what I mean. I think I've played out the idea of suicide as more like a thought experiment. I don't think I ever gave it any sort of seriousness, but that, like, you know, like when Mark committed suicide, I have a really good friend of mine who I used to be real close with. He committed suicide. But no, I'm just saying, as in, like, so, and I like the way I sympathize with them, you know what I mean? I don't think, like, Anne was telling me about someone, I think her name is Siobhan Hickey, who was talking about suicide as if, like, they didn't commit suicide. It's like they died from suicide. In a way, as in, it could be Shiv. It could be Shiv.
You know Shiv, don't you?
Maybe I do. Shout out to Shiv.
Shiv.
Yeah. I don't know that many people. You know what I mean? I'm already getting on the scene. But anyway, what I like, because that summarizes how I feel about the whole situation.
Yeah.
But sort of, what was it like in then, like, at that? Because that seems like that's as that's literally like by definition like as dark as it can go in your brain.
Yeah, man, that's a. I'm not gonna lie, I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
You know, and this is why mental health is such an important thing to me, because a lot of people around me have been there too.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it was hard, man. It was immensely difficult because, like, this is the thing, man. Like, this is why I think it's important to be understanding towards people, man. You know what I mean? Because, you know, suicide is such a fucking, like, man, it's, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how to get into it, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just such a, you know, if you're feeling that way, please seek some fucking help, man. Please. And see, you understand, man, it's hard. The reason I think as well it's hard for a lot of people to open up about that is because there's a level of trust there. You have to be able to, who can you trust
with that information?
With that information, man, because it's such a vulnerable fucking thing to speak to someone about. And I honestly think that's why people are afraid of opening up about that. It's not that, like, it's not only do they feel weak, it's not only they're afraid of being judged, but it's who the fuck can they trust with that?
Yes, it's like it's like sometimes we don't even tell people when we're having a fucking bad day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're afraid of like, oh no, I'm just grand. And then like suicide, there's all this, especially our society in a way, like a culture is kind of like sweep it under the carpet. You know, what are the people going to think?
This is the thing, man. Like, I have a lot of problems with the mental health system in our country. I really do, man. You know, I think it can be very fucking. I think it's immensely flawed, and you know, like I said, mental health's a big part of my life because a lot of my loved ones go through severe mental health issues, mental illnesses like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depersonalization disorder, what else? You know, paranoid schizophrenia, BPD is a big one. You know what I mean? And severe anxiety issues. Like, a lot of people around me that I love dearly go through them things that I just listed there. So that's why mental health is a very important thing to me, man. But I think the mental health system in this country is immensely flawed. Like, I've known people who have gone like to the doctors after self-harm, contemplation of suicide, you know, drug abuse maybe. And their GPs would just be kind of like, just go for a walk and take a breather. Like, imagine like you're going to see your doctor after severely harming yourself, and your GP tells you to go for a fucking walk.
Yes. Like,
that's the thing, man. Like, you know, or like, I know someone very, very dear to me heart, I won't say their name, who was in a psych ward. They attempted suicide a couple of times. They're schizophrenic, and you know, the psych ward told us that we're going to keep them in here for 2 weeks because unfortunately they're a harm to people around them at the minute, and they're a harm to themselves, you know. And we were like, okay. Got out 3 days fucking later. 3 days afterwards, you know what I mean? After telling us, you know, this person's a harm to themselves and a harm to everyone around them, and we should keep them here for 2 weeks just to see how they progress and see if they can kind of readjust back to home life, you know, slowly. But no, 3 days later, let out, you know what I mean? It just does me fucking head in, man. And I think that's what it is, man. It's hopelessness. I think hopelessness is a huge contributor because they're like, who can I go to? Yes. Who can I trust with something as severe as this? And it's not only that, man. It's the thing of feeling like a burden. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm saying, man. Like, for example, like, a lot of people come to me about this stuff, a lot of my loved ones, and they're afraid to come to me because they come to me so much thinking that they're doing me head in, man. Yes. You know what I mean? And it's just, there's so many factors that contribute to why someone could feel suicidal.
And wouldn't reach out in a way.
Yeah, wouldn't reach out, man. And they, like, you know, it's a fucking shame. Like, so if you feel like, you know, harming yourself, or you feel suicidal, or you feel, you know, if you suffer with addiction maybe, you know what I mean, or whatever the fuck you're going through, speak to someone. Speak to somebody, you know, please, like, you know what I mean? If you don't trust your GP, or you don't trust, like, you know, maybe the fucking health system in the country, at least speak to a friend, you know what I mean? Or someone
like,
who you can trust.
I know that we have the Samaritans and stuff, there are like helplines, and but I think this speaks to like such a big problem with it. Like, when you touched on it there, like, who do you trust with that information, the burden? Like, there's so many sort of reasons why it's hard. And even when we're saying like the best thing, we know that the best thing is to speak about it. And then hopefully the other second best thing is like, how can we facilitate speaking about it? By you speaking about it, by us taught by the people who have come through and come through the other side of that tunnel to just say, fuck, I was there and I know.
Yeah, and just also the thing that clarifies, it doesn't, like, you know, I think it doesn't make you less of a person for feeling that way, man. I know for the fact that that's a thing that a lot of people feel. They feel like maybe they're less of a man.
Yes.
You know, or they feel like, you know, and less of a woman.
Yes.
Not just that, like, but I do know it is prevalent in a
you need to be a strong man.
Yeah, be a strong man.
Yeah.
Listen, man, that's another thing I want to clarify, man. That's one of the reasons I unfortunately attempted suicide a few years ago, was because I felt weak. I felt pathetic. You know what I mean? You know, you're only fucking human, and you know, being upset. You know what I mean? Being sensitive, being fucking, it does not make you less of a man.
No.
It just doesn't, man. It just doesn't. I would rather, you know, you cry on my shoulder and, you know, give out a little, not even a little bit, and get that. I'd rather look at you cry and venting about your shit than to see your gravestone.
Yes.
I'd rather hear your demons
100%.
than to fucking see your gravestone, man.
Yes.
And it just plays like, it does not make you less of a person. It doesn't make you look weak. It doesn't make you pathetic. It doesn't make you anything of the sort. Like, it doesn't anything. Speak to somebody.
Yes.
You know, speak to someone. That's the best thing I ever fucking did, honestly, was speak to someone who I can trust, who I know has a high sense of understanding, who doesn't judge or criticize, and cares deeply. And it was one of the most exhilarating things I ever did, because it made me feel normal, it made me feel human again.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay if you fucking hide it and bottle it.
Yes.
And, you know,
because if you share a problem shared is a problem halved, as they say. But it's even a problem even more than halved. Like, I even for my problems that I've had, when you verbalize them, and then when you hear someone else say it, it's like a reassurance, like, oh, all right, maybe it isn't that bad. Maybe because we're limited in what way we're looking at the world. We only look at it from our perspective. So the more, if we can verbalize how we're feeling and get another perspective, then that can change everything, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, I really, because it's a very tough topic to kind of get into, and I appreciate in your music that it comes from that sort of honest place in a way. You know what I mean? You're trying your best to like speak to it in a way that's real. Like, you're not actually. It's so funny because and I realized this, like, when you're doing like the a cappella forms you did there, but even at the open mics, a lot of times it's a cappella, and that adds like another layer of vulnerability in a way. And it's just like fuck, he's being so, like, not only is he like speaking about all these like hard topics, there's no beat, like there's nothing to distract you away. Like, he's literally, that's him. That's just him.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, and the reason as well, I'm very vulnerable. I've started to be very vulnerable with me music, because you know, I want people to know that they're not alone, man. You know what I mean? Very important. You're not alone with what you're going through.
That's the way. And if you could be more open, and that's why in speaking the conversations and being and through music, and actually showing people that, I'm feeling this, and these people are feeling this. Well, you can connect with them, and actually like, that's what hopefully like your music can do, is like make an impact to those others in that situation. And that's what good like let's just say hip hop does. Like, it speaks to that pain, it speaks to the suffering, and like it brings it to like it puts it on a platform and says, hold on, there's something going on here.
Yeah, man.
So it's brilliant. Like, and then with the whole sort of so with that song, like the ad libs I think are very interesting. Like, so with the ad libs, when you're like take the fifth, they say that in the fucking your ad lib, don't you, actually, or something?
Which one is this?
Like, I think you're like fourth take.
The intro of the song, fourth or
fifth.
fifth take. Yeah, that took me a good few takes.
Yeah. But what I mean is, so you're just starting like for me, when I'm recording songs, I do like, well, I suppose these are verse, chorus, verse. I'll do like 10 takes of each. But you're just like, you have to just do it all in it would take.
Sometimes I think it depends. It depends, like.
But what I mean, I thought you said plead the fifth actually in that one, actually, when you were saying four take, plead the fifth. Maybe not. But the ad libs, are they something that like you're just coming up with on the spot? Or
Well, the intro, yeah, just a little. It was just a little.
they're just little bits that get recorded, like
Yeah.
you know, but that's what I mean. Like, because I was
Just
like,
on the spot.
where did it? Yeah, they just kind of come out as you're in it.
Oh man, I think ad libs are the funniest thing ever. Like,
Yeah.
studios with people, and obviously you can't hear the music when they're recording, and like hip hop ad libs are the funniest thing ever. Like, you know what I mean? And we've been in studios, like, and it's just mad silent, like, and he's just waiting about 2 minutes to just do one ad lib, and a big and all just mad sounds in the background and all, and you're sitting there like, it's mad quiet in the studio while your mate's recording. You're just, I mean, next thing you know, they're like, bah! And all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on, man? Like, do you know what I mean?
That's so funny.
Recording ad libs is so funny, man.
Yeah, because they're part of the culture in a way. You're part of the music, like ad libs, like the little bits before, like little bit, and then that piece after, where you're I don't know who it is, but they're speaking to like
Adam. That's Adam Buckley, the young fella at the end of the song.
Yeah.
That's Adam Buckley. He's a young fella from Crumlin. He's making music now. Great young fella, man. Very intellectual, and he's really good at what he does, man. So I'm just hoping now he sticks with it.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? 'Cause he loves it. He loves it. He got onto me like a year. I know Adam a long time, like, but he got onto me like a year or two ago, and was like, I want to start doing it and stuff. And so I just wanted just a little tiny yoke to slap at the end of it, and I thought it'd be perfect for him to do because he's from Crumlin, and
brilliant.
he knows like the whole story as well. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
that's the whole thing. Like, for me, it's just so authentic and so fucking cool. That's how I can describe it. It's like you have that piece, you have the fucking like that cool old school beat, like and then the artwork. It's like literally like fucking just straight out of fucking the 90s, fucking like cool, like fucking and I just think I'm like, you know what I mean? I don't want to get to it, but I just think you're brilliant, like, in a way. You know what I mean?
Thanks,
I do,
man.
like, and I appreciate you taking as well. And I remember giving you a compliment after the thing, and you know, I was talking to Anna about this, but you didn't deflect. Like, you absorb. You tried to really like, okay, I actually really thank you so much. And you were done just passing by, and like, I wasn't even ready for. I was like, oh my god, like, he really, really appreciated that.
Yeah,
like,
man.
And I fucking loved that,
grateful.
and it made me think like. It made because we always try to deflect compliments in a way, you know what I mean?
We do.
We do. Yeah,
we still do.
But we have to remember that they're trying to make us, like, when you compliment someone, like, you don't want to be go, what about your stuff, in a way? You know?
Yeah, no, man.
You're trying to let them feel it.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So we have to give people like, try to, and it's hard to feel a compliment because we don't really know what it's like. For me to give a compliment, you're instilling me with all this energy, but like, you don't know what it's really like for me to experience your music as you, in a way. So all you can try, and then appreciate the fact that. But it's great when you're instilling. It's a crazy thing to do, to instill something in somebody to make them say, like, I like what you're doing, and like, hopefully you know then that you're on the right path.
It's a beautiful thing, man, and that's why like, you know, my motto in life is be humble. Hence the reason humble beginnings. Always be humble, because you don't know what is going to happen. Like, you don't know what to expect, man. Life works in immensely mysterious ways, good and bad, and sometimes the bad things are beautiful, ironically enough, as well, because they educate you, they teach you, and they make you stronger. Like, do you know what I mean? But I'm humble because, like, you don't know what is next. You know what I mean? It's a very big part of my life is being humble, man, and being gracious, and, you know, just being, like, you know, kind, because, you know, you just, like I said, life is just this one big fucking mystery, and we have a possibility of dictating our destiny, but we still just don't know what's around the fucking corner, man. So, you know, I don't want to. I'm not too big. I'm not too small. I'm just humble, man. I'm just doing my thing. You know what I mean?
I'm just grateful for what's happening.
Grateful, and we coexist among everybody. It's not about me. It's about all of us, man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We coexist. I don't, like, you know, I don't care about.
You're not trying to squash someone so you can reign supreme.
Never, man. I want to bring people up, man. I always do. Like, even like, you know, even if I don't necessarily agree with somebody, I might not have a fondness towards them or a relationship with them, if you get me.
Yeah.
I still want to see them do well, man. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
I really do.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't want to see them suffer.
That, never. No, I really don't, man, because, you know, that's what I'm saying, man. Like I said, that was me whole remember I was telling you earlier, like, when after me cousin and me mate brought me to the hospital, and I came out, like I had this epiphany, like, you know what I mean? Like I said, I never knew it was going to get to that point. You know, I never knew all of that stuff was going to happen. So that's why I'm humble, man, you know, because you don't want to get too big for your boots.
100%.
But you don't want to not believing in yourself either.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, so
but you can be both, and you can believe in yourself, but you're always striving, like, to improve. You know what I mean? The game,
absolutely,
it's never over. You know what I mean? As
it's
in, like,
over.
you're always, and that's the process. It's not the end. Like for me, like, I don't want to ever have, like, obviously, like, if I have to retire, I will. But I hope that I can have something in my life that I'm always just moving in. And, like, the process of doing the thing is where I'm getting my enjoyment. It's like on to the next, like, it's not on to the next one. I'm not looking for, like, I'm not looking out there to be like, when I get there, I'm going to be happy. Although, like, let's say the point I'm at now, I'm always at, like, the peak of, like, so, like, right now, the fact that I was driving in to collect you, right, listening to your fucking songs on YouTube, it was one of the most, but for me, as this journey has unfolded from my own point of view, like, when I started doing this podcast, when I started going to the open mics, and now I've had like that for me, when I realized that, I was like, holy shit, like, this is fucking so cool. Like, that I've created this, like, new, like, stage in my life, and then it's just like, oh, on this process of it, and wherever this goes, like episode 100 or like an album 100, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The process between is gonna be fucking brilliant. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, man, and that's why, like, that's another thing about being humble, man, because, like, you know, a humble man can never be humiliated. You know what I mean, on his journey, because on your journey, you'll have embarrassing moments, you'll fuck up, you'll make mistakes, you'll make a fool out of yourself, and that's okay, man. That's an essential part of the journey. That's another reason why I think being humble is immensely important, because a humble man can never be humiliated, no matter what he faces. He can't, man. And the thing is, as well, is that, like, you know, like I said, man, I've always said this, you know, just for hypothetically, I could be worth 10 million quid one day, man. I'm still going to get me clothes out of pennies.
Yes.
I'm going to get the bus to the studio. I'm going to be floating around crumbling like a normal fucking citizen, man. You know, money does not define who you are.
Yes.
You know what I mean? What defines who you are is how you fucking, in my humble opinion, what defines who you are is, like, how like, you know, you operate with your heart.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? How you operate with your heart.
How you are with everyone. How you are with your everyone. Integrity when no one's looking.
Exactly. And integrity is an essential part of my life, man. Like I said, I have a lot of morals. I have a lot of strong morals. Now, again, I don't judge other people for what they do. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't.
But you have your own, you're measuring yourself in your own
kind
thing.
of values, man.
Yes.
I have my own fucking, like, so I, you know, I might strongly disagree with a lot of stuff. But I don't, you know, judge people. But the reason I have that, man, is because, you know, I've done some fucked up shit to people. I've been cruel, been unkind, and, you know, I've done some bad stuff. Like, and when I realised, like, you know, I realised the effect that can have on not only your heart, your mind, but people's souls, man. I've moved with my soul. I firmly believe, like, you know, you should operate with that, because, like, it's a very special thing. And, you know, regardless of what you believe in, if you believe in an afterlife, you know, you're religious, whatever the case may be, like, your soul is essential, man. You want to be able anyway to leave the earth with, you know, a good heart, you know, somewhat of a clean soul, in my opinion, and a healthy mind. Do you know what I mean? And we need to go for another piss.
Yes, please go. We'll be right back. That's how you make a fucking exit. And we are back once again. The toilet breaks are breaking this up very nicely. So, yeah, I just want to touch on, like, there's one kind of area maybe, and then whatever else comes out of that, is the Collectiveyez. And so we're talking about, you know, I know that you're, like, the reason I said with the Crumbling Crusader, it's like I'm seeing you as, like, a sort of like on horseback, like, just, like, doing your best for your community in a way, and what you're saying even now, getting, like, your man, like, to do that a little bit at the end of the song, and all this kind of stuff, and, like, just knowing, like, the little bit that I know you, I know that this is so important to you, like, being that beacon, being that crusader for everyone. And, like, so what is Collectiveyez? Like, I've seen this being thrown around, and what is the whole thing there?
It started off as a collective of artists, and you know, my goal was to kind of just get maybe the younger kind of people who, like, we socialise with at the open mics and stuff, and some of our younger friends. Like, and kind of try help build them up and try just, you know, give them assistance with stuff. That was the goal, do you know what I mean? And kind of just help each other out and maybe create a little community of artists that we can stick together, like, you know what I mean, and help each other out and stuff.
Yes.
It's kind of on that construction now at the minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have, you know, me and one or two people just have a couple of ideas maybe for the future. I don't want to speak on anyone's behalf because I don't know what the story is with everything at the minute. But yeah, that's what I was hoping for it to be. And, you know, it is kind of that in a way, like, you know what I mean? And just hopefully one day with it, we can just help aspiring artists and encourage them to, you know, go in the right direction for them.
Yes.
Not for us. Like, we don't know what the right direction is, but hopefully we can encourage them to find the right direction for them. You know what I mean? And to hopefully educate them, provide them with some essential knowledge, like, you know what I mean? Because, you know, the whole kind of motive and reason to kind of started it up in the first place was because, you know, I got fucked over a lot when I started rapping, like, you know what I mean? Me and Anto, right, well, kind of got fucked over a few times and, you know, we were used, maybe taken advantage of once or twice, you know, put money into things and stuff. And, you know, that's the thing, man. Like, I've learned a lot and, like, I've made mistakes with money too, you know what I mean? That's why I don't like money. I don't like operating with money, man. I kind of want to be my own, I kind of want to be my own fucking, boss in a sense. I don't want to be in charge of anyone else's kind of shit. But if I can help, you know, in any way, maybe mentally, maybe with a song, if you get me, or they need some advice on maybe a track they're down or something, or just there to encourage, man, kind of like a mental safety net, for artists if they're ever feeling like down or doubting themselves or whatever the case may be.
A bit lost on what's next or what should I do.
So that's
just
kind of what
lend an ear and a bit of advice.
That's exactly what I kind of wanted it to be. And like I said, it's just on the construction now at the minute.
Yeah.
Just kind of, you know, retracing a few steps, kind of thinking of the future, setting up a few ideas, and the
seed's been planted. You know what I mean?
Seed's been planted,
which is the most important thing. And like you're saying, everything, like humble beginnings, like everything, and even no matter what we do. Even the smallest act of looking after your garden, in an example, trying to make something beautiful, or is impacting the world in some way. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like the most important thing is that we're trying our best, and it doesn't matter the scale of like who we're reaching or whatever. As long as we're like, if we feel like we're reaching even one person, it's like, well, that's brilliant.
That's what I'm saying.
Because if we all did that, collectively, it would be the world would be like a better place.
Definitely, man. And this is the point I'm trying to make. You shouldn't, you know, like, music isn't, in my opinion, you know, the statistics are good. You know, obviously it's good to make progress and to gain a wider audience. Obviously, that's fucking amazing. But, you know, that's what I was saying earlier. Make art for you.
Yes.
You should. I mean, again, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just saying, like, you know, if you're in a place of, you know, trying to find your purpose, because there's been times I've questioned why the fuck I'm even doing this. You know, what the fuck is it, like, you know, why?
Yes.
What is this,
man?
The doubt
creeps in.
Yeah, the doubt creeps in, writer's block, or maybe you stumbled upon some sort of issue and you don't know how to necessarily maneuver your way through it in a way, and it's fucking you up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But make art for you.
Yes.
First and foremost, make art for you. Do it for you. Because regardless of what your intention is, man, as long as it makes you happy, then who the fuck
exactly
who the fuck am I to, you know what I mean, complain? Or, you know, you're gonna get people that don't like your music, you're gonna get people that hate your music, you're gonna get people that love it, man, think it's mediocre, think it's okay, think it's the best thing ever. Just make music for you, man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? For your heart, for your soul, for your mind, for your sanity, whatever the case may be.
Whatever it may be. And if you don't if you make music like for anyone else, like, or based on a particular genre or a particular goal that's out there, I think you've less chance of like connecting with people in a way. Like, if you write from the place within and write what's for you, like, you, like, there's no point, like, there's everything's been done basically in music, right? So like and it doesn't really matter if you do something that's true to you, you'll find your particular niche, and you'll go to a place over a few years of development where no one has ever been before. No one's ever been in that musical hole in a way, right? And then that's beautiful, because then you're bringing something to the world that wasn't there before.
Exactly. And that's what makes you a unique individuality, you know. And
yes,
like, music is a very complicated thing when you look at it from the outside, because you know, I used to be like, you know, hip hop's like competitive.
Yes,
It's a competitive
built the
sport.
MC like rap battles.
I'm not really like into
I'm
that.
the best ever
Yeah,
gonna.
yeah. And
Everyone
it's
says
okay.
you're the best.
Yeah, you do have to
No,
believe
yeah,
you're the
no,
best. Oh, good. I mean, I think I'm
No, because
good,
it elevates
but
you, it pushes you, but
It does.
That's like the spirit of the MC. I don't think like you know. I can't really explain it, but anyway.
No, I know exactly what you mean, but I just you know, hip hop is like kind of competitive, like, you know what I mean. But I find like a lot of times it goes from competitive to just pure fucking hostile, like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's just not me, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, that's just not me. And I know that a few people listen to that and be like, he's talking shit, and that's all right, man. You know. But I do it for my therapy. You know what I mean? For my sanity, and we do it for the boys, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what provides me with, you know, that's what gives me purpose to do it. You know what I mean? That's what it's for me.
I think what you touched on there, because you can like, let's say in like the competitive actual rap battle scene, right? It's about like just coming up with like the cleverest like way of like abusing the other person, right? But it doesn't have to get hostile. It doesn't have to be like you can actually respect.
Yeah, you
like they can respect
the effort and the top.
And they don't have to be hostile. Was a brilliant way of saying it, because you can say like as part of the spirit of the MC, you could be like, I'm the best ever, because that's part of like everyone like that's, and in a particular genre that's part of it. But when it becomes hostile, when you're like, I don't like this, and I fucking like I hate that, and like, anytime hate or hostility.
I used to be like that, man. That's why I kind of stopped, because I used to be like, he's a dickhead. He doesn't deserve to have that many views. And that's a horrible way to think. That's cruel.
I know.
And it's disrespectful and it's negative, man. I got tired of thinking like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I got fed up with that bullshit. Like, that's not a good way to think, man. So it was just kind of a bit like, you know, what is the reason I'm doing this? Like, you know what I mean? What is the main purpose for me writing these tunes and putting them out into the fucking universe? What is that like? Why? So because and again, it plays into social media. Like, it plays into social media, and you know, I think like I think the music scene at times can be quite negative, to be honest. Like, I think it can be quite toxic, and you know, that's what I'm saying, man. You know, there was times I've met artists who inspired me, and you know, they just treated me like pure shit. Like, so like, bro, your
don't
music
meet your
helps
heroes.
me. Don't exactly. Your music helps me. It's amazing, you know. And then cunts are having a go at you, like, you know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck, like I'm here complimenting this dude, man. I'm telling him his music is incredible, his art is, you know, phenomenal, and it does things for me. Like, it makes me feel positive and enlightened and empowered, and you know, he's just fucking being an absolute cunt of a thing. So, and it's happened many times, man. So we just kind
many times.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's fucked up,
what is it's like? I think it comes from that place of scarcity where people think if you're winning, I'm losing in a way, or like they see people up and coming. Like, I don't know, like sometimes for me, right, I'm a big fucking loudmouth, right? So like I put myself on the line, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if I have to at least I play that game in a way, right? So I'm not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, and no one's gonna be everyone's cup of tea as well.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? And it doesn't happen very often. But when I like some people, I know I'm not their cup of tea, because they view artistry like they have a particular lens that they're looking at the world, right? And someone comes in maybe like me, I'm a bit like blah blah, like look at me, look attention, give me the attention, motherfucker, like and then they're like, oh well, he's not X one. I mean, and we all do it. Like when new people come into a scene or whatever, we can be susceptible to feeling that uncomfortable of like,
it's intimidating.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
so intimidating, man. Like, I remember the first time we went to Circles, I was immensely intimidated. And it was the most wholesome and welcoming environment ever. And the reason I was intimidated is I'm here in a Nike tracksuit and, you know, just this little schmear walking into fucking Circles, man. I'm about to like rap about depression and
the darkness,
violence and fucking drug abuse and all, man. Do you know what I mean? This mad fucked up. These people are having poems about like fucking Fionn McCool and all, and fucking Irish mythology and stuff, and it's very and I was here, I don't fit in here at all. Like, I remember sitting down with Anto was here, like, you know, and it was the most wholesome and welcoming thing ever. It was
That's
just
brilliant.
amazing, like, and
Yes.
everyone welcomed me with open arms. They didn't judge. They weren't like, you know, wow, fuck that, like,
You don't belong here.
yeah, you know what I mean. Your coin's not welcome here, type thing. You know
Yes.
what I mean. So it was just a bit like really happy days.
That's
Like,
brilliant.
it
Yeah.
was, man. But yeah, man, I find that it can be intimidating, like, you know what I mean. Especially me, man. Sometimes I can be quite antisocial at times. Like, so when I go to like certain events and venues, like, I tend to kind of, you know, be in the corner
Yes.
by myself, because I've socialized with, you know, people within the music scene before, and it's been just a negative experience, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? And there's no need for it.
Yes.
So I kind of sway away from socializing now sometimes, you know.
Yeah, because sometimes it's a. If you, the problem is when you get burned a few times, it's hard to open up your heart to the world again. I
Yeah.
think Anne was even alluding to this a bit, like before she met you in a way. Like she'd been through some trouble with men in a way, and like it's hard to open back up then to the
Absolutely.
world when you've been burned.
You build a wall.
You build a fucking
A
wall.
shield to protect yourself.
Yes.
It's instinct. It's survival, because you don't want to be hurt again. And that's the thing, man. I am kind of, that's one thing I am guilty of that I'm trying to work on, is I can get very antisocial at times. You know what I mean? I want people to leave me alone sometimes, and I feel
Yes.
terrible for feeling that
But
way.
you do need, like you were saying, you need that time to recharge in a way.
Yeah, I do, man. Like,
To get away so you can be a better person. And but yeah, it's hard. Then you, like, let's say you've been burned by loads of people that you've been trying to just like create like a connection with, and then it just makes you cynical. Then it's like, what's the point or whatever.
Exactly. I've been very cynical, and you know, I think the poxy thing about being cynical, man, is that you end up subconsciously applying that to different territories of your life.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Cynicism is it's like a wisdom in a way. As in, it's an unearned wisdom, because if you're cynical, it's safer. You don't have to believe in anything. You can just always find a cynicism, and it gives you like a power. If you like, so you can get kind of taken in by cynicism, because it means that you can always be right. Because if you take the cynical view on anything, it's just it's the lowest for the form of viewing something, I think. But it's also the one that's like it removes any need of like let's say if you're just cynical, it's safer. You won't get hurt in a way, because you just think everything's cynical, nothing matters, blah blah blah. And it's a safer place for your own psyche and soul in a way. But it's just, yeah, I think we have to just try and, like, from that place of humility, just support what we like, because that way then it encourages more encouragement, I think. So that's what I want to encourage more as part of that, as the thing. And then, because if we're all actually support, this is the big thing, right? When I started going to the open mics, and now I'm meeting people like you and doing these podcasts, it's like this. So I have all this fucking podcast equipment, right? I have a bit of expertise in it. This is my role. I can actually help the ecosystem with this. This is I can contribute, right? And in that way, the ecosystem that I'm participating in gets better and gets more interesting. We don't need, like, we can have interviews, we can have podcasts, we can have performances, we can have everything we want as musicians, a thing, and hopefully make it sort of, the thing is trying to make it viable and make it so people are doing less of what they don't like and more of what they do like. And that's but make it, trying to create the ecosystem and make it vibrant involves, like, you not just like looking at someone going, oh, he's stupid, isn't he? Like, or oh yeah, he's not good, isn't he? Not. Oh,
that's exactly what me and James Fortune, aka Jimmy the Bastard.
Jimmy the Bastard, yes.
The Bastard.
He's not a bastard.
Shout out Creatures of Habit.
Yes,
Dylan Savage.
legend, Dylan Savage.
Legends, man. Love the two of them to bits.
Brilliant,
that's what me
lads.
and Jimmy kind of wanted to do with Collectiveyez in general and in the future, is provide a very positive ecosystem community to where these people don't have to invest their energy in the negative aspects of, you know, the music scene, and hopefully the music industry one day, if they ever do kind of become you know, successful,
Yes.
I suppose, like, whatever the definition of success is, but if they become like noticed and they gain notoriety and end up getting involved in the industry, that's what me and Jimmy wanted to provide, kind of a safe space for these people, I suppose, like, try to do so one day anyway, you know. That's the goal. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like, a lot of people don't realise it can be negative. A lot of people don't realize. I know, man. A lot of people do not fucking realize the negative aspect of music and what comes with it. And look, not to sound negative, but you
Yeah.
do need to be aware of these things so they can be avoidable
Oh,
in
yes,
the future, man. Like, do you know what I
100%.
mean? You will get fucked over. You are going to unfortunately clash heads. You're gonna have disagreements. You might even, God forbid, end up falling out with a couple of people.
Yeah.
And that's that's what we kind of wanted to do in a sense with Collectiveyez and with Jimmy, and is that we wanted to kind of somewhat try to provide an environment where that doesn't need to happen. I suppose.
Yeah, but
like,
we
do you know
don't
what I
need to
mean? We will.
shoot. You don't need to suffer. You don't need to lose so I can win.
Exactly, and we will. Look, we will one day, definitely. I know we will, and because look, man, that's the thing, man. Like, I think, like I said, man, we went through so much with the music stuff that it made me grow. Like, such, a lot of negative stuff that made me kind of grateful, I suppose, man. Do you know what I mean? So now I kind of know how to approach situations if I am stepping outside of my comfort zone musically, like
Yes.
socializing with certain individuals, artists, being in certain environments. You know what I mean? Maybe doing certain gigs, whatever the case is. Now I kind of know how to somewhat, operate around these
Yes,
things now because I
navigate
didn't at the
that.
start. So then, like, obviously when something did happen, it'd break me heart. Like, what the fuck? Whether if something kind of like that happens now, I kind of know how to deal with it myself inside, and I know how to move on from it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In a positive way.
Yeah, but you've learned, and like you learn, and then you've come away with this, and it just seems like you're just a great sort of beacon in the darkness, like for this kind of new way of thinking. Because I think it's just because I'm very green, let's say, and I'm very like I'm like a puppy dog. I'm like, oh, everything's sunshine and rainbows. You know what I mean? But the
Yeah.
reality is, like I just think it comes from people that have hate in their hearts. Like it comes from like that place of sort of insecurity of like, oh, like fucking like to hate something is just it's such a strange place. Because I know in my past, when I was younger, let's say, like this comparison stuff, I'd be like comparing myself against other people, who were doing certain things in college, who were doing certain things musically or whatever before I even got going. And it wasn't from a place of inspiration. I was actually jealous. I was jealous.
Yeah.
And then I've learned to flip it on its head. Like now I get, because they're the same. Like jealousy and inspiration, you just split them around and it's the same.
Yeah.
So instead of going, oh, fuck that guy, it's like, oh, yes, that guy.
Yeah, exactly, man. Don't ever be envious. Be inspired, like, you know what I mean? Even if it's someone, like I said, you might not necessarily be fond of or might not agree with that character and how they think or whatever.
Yeah.
Be inspired still, like, do you know what I mean? Don't, I've no room in my heart for hatred anymore, man. I used to be quite a bitter person, and when I realised the effect that had on me, like, mentally, man, it's a very poxy fucking way to think and a way to view the world, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just have no room in my heart for hatred, man. It's a waste of time.
Yes.
It's a waste of energy, and like, you're gonna be, jealousy is just, I mean, it's been said a million times before, jealousy is a fucking ridiculous emotion. You're gonna feel jealousy. Like, there's
100%.
times though, you're gonna feel jealousy in regards, like, you might, maybe this young fella has a nice pair of runners, you're like, fuck, man, I love them, but I love them runners, like, you know what I mean? Like, but nah, like
You can't let it take over your heart. Like.
yeah, you can't, man, because I think it's just a fucking ridiculous thing to let fester up inside you, because you end up just becoming so fucking, toxic, man. People won't want to be around you and all. Do you know what I mean? They won't be. Like, I've I used to be like that. I used to be like, why is he getting the attention? Why is he?
Oh, no, I'm not. Like,
Yeah,
it's
man,
all
it's
that.
just bollocks.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous, man. If you have belief in yourself, there's no room to have hatred or jealousy within your heart, man. If you believe in yourself, you know what I mean? So
Exactly, yes.
you need to battle them insecurities, man.
It's-
Otherwise,
that's
they'll take you over. They'll take you over.
The jealousy can be a signal in a way. It's not like it exists, right? So that means all the stuff that exists in our emotional landscape, I think, serves a purpose. You know what I mean? But it's when we give it too much of a like, let's say with jealousy, if we're like, oh, what is that feeling I'm feeling? Oh, what is that? And then you look into it deeper, yeah. But then if you're not aware and you let it take over and you never look at it in a way and try to analyze what is this thing here, because then you find a way to overcome it or understand if you need to understand where these feelings are coming from, and that becomes that you need to learn through awareness. Awareness, I think, is the most fundamental thing that we need as people. Like, we need to try That's what meditation and other stuff and music and even just like you have to be self-aware.
You really
because
do,
then
man.
you're not humble. Then you're just up your own hole.
Exactly, man. And I think, yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, I know I've met a lot of narcissistic people in my life, you know, and you know, it can be a bit hard to be around them sometimes, you know, even if you're understanding, you know, it can be very difficult at times to be around somebody like that because it's just a poxy view to have of,
Yes.
like I'll never walk into a room and be like, I'm the best person in here, no matter what. It doesn't fall. I'll never, ever adopt that mentality. I'll never be able to adopt that mentality because, like I said, I coexist among these people, like, you know what I mean? But I have met people who fucking walk into these rooms and, you know, they'd be like, everyone in here's shy. I'm the best. Fuck the lot of you. Like, and you're just a bit like, wow, man. You like, wow, man. You know what I mean? Wow,
Just wow.
Man. Wow, like what the fuck, bro? Do you know what I mean?
Such a limited
and it'd be
range.
such a friendly environment. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Be such a beautiful, friendly, welcoming environment, and you just get some bloke like licking the tip of his own cock. He'd be like, I'm the best in here. Fuck the lot of these cunts, and it's like,
that's crazy. Yeah.
It's like, wow, man, you need to fucking sit down and have a scoop and relax.
Yeah,
man,
relax
you know?
and
But yeah, that's the self-awareness, man, is vital. Like, that's the thing where, like, you know, Anne said to me, I'm immensely self-aware, like, and sometimes it can be to me own detriment, I suppose. Yeah, I'm a bit hard on myself sometimes, you know, but
yeah,
it is vital, man, to be self-aware because, you know, like, taking accountability is a vital thing, man, and it can be very difficult to take accountability sometimes, but it'll be very good for you in the long run if you take accountability. Like, over maybe it's an argument, maybe it's a disagreement, maybe it's something you did wrong on somebody, but
just putting up your hand and saying, "Yeah,
I fucked up," and that's okay, man. But if you take accountability, man, it's such a that promotes and creates a path of natural, you know, progression and healing.
Yes,
like,
and resolution as well.
Resolution. There you go.
Because if you don't take account, then it's like nothing will get resolved, right? Because that's how you're in the wrong, right? Which we're all in the wrong in some ways, right?
You have to be.
And we don't admit it, then we're never gonna get it resolved.
Exactly, man.
And then there's always something that you did wrong, even in things where you think, like, let's say, example, someone really fucked you over. It's like, well, you unfortunately allowed that to happen. I know this sounds fucked up because some people have been through terrible stuff. And
I think it depends on the circumstances.
It does depend on
the
circumstances.
situation.
You're right.
If it's a preventable, well, then yeah, you kind of allowed it to happen.
Yeah. And sometimes, you're right. Yeah, it's not like, it's not black and white. It's not like, but maybe there's something that you could have said or done at some point along the lines. And sometimes it's hard, and then that's where kind of forgiveness it comes into play as well. But anyway, look, the point is that trying to take accountability for the obvious stuff in your life where you can see, okay, I need to look at this. All right, I'm sorry I fucked up with this person. But I think this whole thing has just been this whole conversation. You're the perfect guest because you're just it's just perfect for ranting and stuff. So what I want to talk just a little bit about is the album, in a way, like the next piece of work that's kind of in the oven. Like what's happening there?
I am working on my debut album, or somewhat trying to work on it.
Yes.
It's called Hell's Messenger, Heaven's Servant, and it'll be my first ever kind of official release, like, you know what I mean? And the album is kind of somewhat of a concept, like, the whole reason behind the title Hell's Messenger, Heaven's Servant is it's like a duality of both. Like, I come from hell, and like, it's a metaphor. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, like, you know what I mean, we've walked through hell, and we've done some hellish things to survive, and you know, that is my environment. That was my environment. So I want to provide people with a picture of hell that will hopefully convince you to walk towards heaven. It's a metaphor.
Yes.
I'm not religious, but obviously, you know, it's night and day.
Great imagery.
Yeah, exactly. It's an image. It's an image I'm trying to provide you with that'll hopefully convince you to take the right path in your life, you know what I mean? Because that's what I'm saying, man. You know, an essential part of my life was witnessing people spiral downward and go through hell, like, you know what I mean? And the reason that was such a vital part of my life was because, as grim as it sounds, as negative as it sounds, is because, you know, kind of really, you know, inspired me not to do so, like, you know what I mean? I've watched a lot of people that I love dearly fall apart and never pick themselves back up, or, you know, go down some fucked up roads, like I've been saying the whole podcast. It's
Yes.
just an essential part of my life, man, because it
They've
really,
witnessed.
yeah, it's a witness, man, because it's a part of who I am. Witnessing that stuff is a part of who I am. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, it's just that's what the album is about, man. You know, I'm talking about crumbling, I'm talking about my personal life and very personal issues that I went through. I'm talking about the boys who are my life, you know what I mean? And it's just like a few years ago, I kind of started going on this path of righteousness, self-righteousness, you know, kind of actually sticking to what I believe in and trying to, you know, always go down a healthy road for myself, man, because, you know, when you just grow up witnessing fucking, you know, drug addiction, all that
Yes.
stuff, man, alcoholism, you know what I mean, self-harm, depression, people around the area killing themselves, people harming each other, man. Like, I grew up witnessing that, like, you know, on somewhat of a regular basis, I suppose, like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and in different chapters and in different pieces, like, you know, and that kind of, you know, going through my own struggle, I just really don't want anyone else to fucking, especially the people I love, man, you know what I mean?
Mm,
And, you know, I just don't want people going down them paths, man, you know?
they can help it.
Yeah, if they can help it. So that's what it's about, man. It's like, you know, I'm going to paint you the most fucked up, horrifying picture of hell. You know what I mean? The most fucked up shit that I've been through. I'm gonna, you know, put that into a story that hopefully you can comprehend and read. And I'm hoping it motivates you, it inspires you, and I'm hoping, you know, kind of convinces you to walk like we are talking about, the
Yes.
light at the end of the tunnel, and to keep
Avoid the
moving
hell.
forward. Avoid the hell, man. It's easy, you know, to fall and to dive into them pits. You know
Yes.
what I mean? We have pitfalls. We're all gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna fucked up, and we're all gonna feel down some days. But you can't let yourself like dive into the depths, like, you know
Yes.
what
And
I mean?
wallow there for too long
And
in a
wallow, because you'll be
way.
stuck there, man.
Yes. You
That's
can't, not
exactly,
getting stuck. Like we're like it's okay. Like we're gonna have them moments of
yeah.
downness and stuff. But it's when you like you were saying there, when you've witnessed people falling and like not getting back up. Like
They never did.
that's just the worst, man. Like you know
It
what I
is
mean?
such.
Because and that is unfortunate. It's not like sometimes you're done. Like sometimes there's no way back, and like that's a terrible reality. And maybe like it has to get so dark before. Obviously, there's a lot before you get to that point, and hopefully you can turn it around. And I do think you could probably all, but I do think there probably is a place where it's like it's actually over, and you never want to get to that place. And if you can help people, sort of, you know, like I think heaven and hell they do exist on earth, and they are here, and they're everywhere, and they're within us. Like the hell, it's the potential for hell. Like let's say for example, I just decide I'm gonna start drinking again. I'm just gonna start buying cocaine and just fucking fuck
Exactly,
everything,
man.
yeah, and just start getting into that. And that's then I'm moving towards hell. Or through this podcast, through everything that I'm doing now, this is me moving towards heaven and trying to create
Exactly
that
my
prosperity
point.
in a way. So that lives here within me, and
Exactly.
the potential is there.
Exactly, and it's to also show them it's possible.
Yes, that's what we do. This is
It's
what I was
possible.
talking to Anne. We are right now, whatever we do in our lives, we're telling a story and we're inspiring one way or the other. So let's try live a life that inspires, you know, people towards heaven, and show them that heaven it can be their own lives, that they can move towards heaven in a way.
Yeah, that's it exactly, man. You know,
Yeah.
it's vital, man, because like especially for the younger people, and you know, even people that are older, like, you know, it's just I really hope one day, even if it's just one fucking person, man, that I can motivate some poor chap or poor woman maybe sitting in that fucking gaff, man, just dwelling on the negative impact that they've been through. I don't want, you know, don't sit there and do that for the rest of your life. You're fully capable of achieving your dreams. You're fully capable of actually healing yourself.
Yes,
You're
turn it
fully
around.
you're fully capable of looking after yourself, your family, you know, you're fully capable, you know what I mean? I firmly believe we're put on this earth to love, man. Firmly believe that fucking shit, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Firmly believe that. And, you know, that's what I'm saying, man. There's just so much hatred and shit going around, man. So You know, especially when you grow up, like, see, this is the thing, man. An essential part of it is the environment I grew up in. And one of my biggest fears in life was becoming a product of my environment. That was one of my biggest fears in life. It still is.
Yes.
I don't want to become a product of my environment.
But you don't want to become a negative product.
Exactly.
Like, because you are a product of your environment,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be, you can be a positive product of that. Even though
that's exactly what I'm trying to be, man. Do you know what I mean? Because I've witnessed so many people becoming a negative product of their environment.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man. It's deep. It gets deeper than that as well, man. Do you know what I mean? It's just because like there's more to life as well than fucking. There's more to life than cocaine. There's more to life than, you know, fucking
the weekends
and
everything.
man. You know what I mean? Exactly. Love. You know, make sure you fucking tell your folks you love them, and make sure you look after your younger siblings. You know what I mean? Make sure you thank your eldest siblings for looking after you. Maybe, you know, be grateful, man.
Be grateful.
Life has so much to offer you, and unfortunately, you know, sometimes depression is a dark cloud that prevents you from seeing what life has to offer you. Do you know what I mean? And I understand that, but like, no matter who is listening to this right now, you are fully capable of achieving what you want in life. You really are. It's hard. It's going to be immensely fucking difficult, but I would rather fight and struggle and suffer for that than to just like fight, struggle and suffer for nothing. Like,
yes,
because it's inevitable in life you're gonna suffer. It's inevitable in life you're going to like struggle. It's inevitable in life that you're gonna feel sadness. You're gonna be down. Like, but I would rather fight and struggle for something I firmly believe in. You know what I mean? Than to just fight and struggle for nothing. Like, for no purpose. Like, do you know what I mean?
I think that's brilliant. I think that's the best, beautiful way to end this fucking podcast. Like, I don't think we're not going to achieve a higher level of greatness or positivity than that. But yeah, no, look, I really appreciate you coming out.
I appreciate you having me,
it's
man.
been brilliant. Like, we'll probably have to do this again down the line.
Definitely.
When you get that album out.
Definitely.
And then
2023.
Yeah, 2020. Keep an eye out. I'll tag you in all the stuff. Obviously, you can find them on Facebook, Kaycii.
Instagram, not on Facebook. Fuck Facebook.
Yeah.
Fuck Facebook.
You know what I mean? But you can only take so much social media. But yeah, look, really appreciate it. And we will catch you in the next one.
Yup.